we are live from New York City. No, not from New York City, from Southern California. It's the 26th. We're looking at, I don't know, 140 tickers. So on the form for the tickers, some of you are just putting the tickers in the comment section. One ticker per box, no ampersand, no dollar signs, nothing, just the ticker. If you want to ask a question in the comment section, there's an extra box for that. I had a couple people just put no tickers and then all the tickers with commas, and I miss them unless I go one by one. And I do have hundreds of lines in there every week, so I just caught 2 or 3 that I added manually. Okay, so we have a lot, and I think we're going to break off into 2 videos, somewhere on the Ks. So let's get started. This is not the first one, but this is to show you that, I thought this price action, this is the 30-second chart from Friday. I thought the price action would end up here. They took a long detour and they ended up here anyway. What am I saying? I'm saying just charts do tell the truth right now, unfortunately. And we do need to look at charts more than news, if you ask me. All right, so let's get started. We have Agilent. Not much to say there. I don't have a sheet. There should be audio if you're having audio issues, Jay. Let's give you this handy thing. Give me an audio check. Anyone can hear? Just to make sure Jay is the only one. And the audio problem is fixed. As I was saying, that's the meaning of life. And we're out. No, that wasn't it. All right, so Agilent, it had a rally from here to here, and it's giving back some. If I haven't closed my longs, now is not the right time because it's covering the gap, middle of the range. Somewhere here, there should be support. This is purely based on the chart itself. I don't know much of it. No spreadsheet, Gint. I'm sorry. I'm running out of time every weekend. I'm busy these days, and the spreadsheet takes literally 4 hours to do, so maybe next weekend I'll get back to it. Apologize. Okay. So you can, if you're busy, you can just get back into the video. This is American Airlines. I was tempted to short it, but I decided not to. It is falling and trying to find support. It has several layers of support. I just don't know where they are. Look at the weekly chart to appreciate the levels in play. Okay, let's go check. This is my own note to myself. All right, so on the weekly chart, you can see how much upside there was and where they are now. And just to appreciate how volatile the stock is. So whatever conviction you have in it, you should appreciate the fact that it moves a lot. So if you're bearish and you're losing, don't dig your heels. If you're bullish and you're losing, don't dig your heels. There's a possibility it gets to 19. From what base? I don't have a reason to short it anymore. I did before. So here, if I have profits any which way or another, I trim some and I should revisit my thesis. The chart doesn't tell me a lot. Apple, it's trying to find footing. It's acting kind of strange. It does have support into 142. I think it'd be okay for it to hit 142. It needs to absolutely stay above where the 135-ish, so we don't bring back those comments of, oh my gosh, maybe Apple is going by the way of Tesla and Nvidia, because it's still pretty high relative to its pandemic levels. So there's no reason to be afraid unless the whole market is coming into something weird. On the flip side, if it takes this out, which is 157, then we have much more upside. It has support, but it's wide. Like this candle is too big, down to 138. But the red one was also too big. So let's assume this whole thing was a crazy nonsense. It's inside of a base into 142. If it gets to these 2 alerts at 144 and 142 are for me to maybe tempt to go long via a credit put spread. AbbVie looks like it wants to break out. If it gets above 154, it can get to 160 or more. But look how clean cut that thing is. So I don't think it'll be easy. It might even come back down to 146 before it goes there. That would be a better buying. So if AbbVie falls and tries to fill this gap, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So anything below 148 would be interesting from a swing trade opportunity for AbbVie. Now, I want to caution you, everything I'm saying does not take into effect that there might be earnings. Do your homework. If there are earnings coming on any stock, my comments don't really mean anything because it's a coin flip. Airbnb, if you chased it here, I don't know what to say. And if you were looking to get long, now is a better time because it broke out from here. It is reasserting itself by testing the neckline. So it broke out from here. It's coming back to its base. It's not a reason to get out of it now. If you bought it here and sold it here, you definitely need help trading because you're doing the opposite of what you need to do. We can help. So here it wasn't obvious. I would never chase a stock up whatever percent that much. Never. Even if I love the stock and I'm so upset I wasn't long, I would let it go. I would beat myself saying, oh, I can't believe I missed it. Do it 10 times rather than buy it once. Now it's the time. When it falls back into the place from which it sprang, it would be a better thing. And in fact, I will add it. Add Airbnb, add to my watch list. Abbott Labs falling into support. I don't know much about the company, but it could rally back to 108, 106, 108, something like that. It's falling into a base. So I do have it on my watch list for a credit put spread, maybe a debit call spread. If I do a debit call spread, I would use April contracts. Credit put spread, I would try to sneak in at March, unless I already have a bunch of Marches. So it's falling back, filling the gap back into a base. It's a better long than a short at this level. I don't know much about the company. I don't remember seeing this ever. I would avoid this one. Let me rephrase. I would get out if it loses this 2.6. It'd probably end up 20 cents lower. Looks like a mess of a Head and Shoulders. This is biopharma, so headline city. I wouldn't touch this. It's not my style. I would never touch that stock. Adobe, a few people reached out to me wanting to do a credit put spread. It is doable. I want to warn you, Adobe is not very liquid in the options market. So what you see as far as premium may not be what you actually get. And the fills are hard. The quotes are pretty wonky. So be careful how you trade it. It does have a big gap down here, so it might bleed lower, but it is tradable. It is a good company. I don't know what they said in their earnings, if they had one. So they must have. Unless, oh wait, I think somebody else had earnings and they're moving in sympathy. Something, I forgot what it is. Yeah, something along the lines of Adobe. AEHR. Yeah, I don't know. So good base, good ascending channel from that perspective. Right here is pretty choppy inside, above, trying to hold 30. There's no reason why it should lose 30, 28, something like that. So if you want to get long here for the opportunity to break out from 37, that's fine. Just make sure you put stops. I don't know the company, I'm sorry. Affirm, you saw what I did with Affirm. I bought the dip on earnings drop by selling puts, and that trade played out. Not to maximum gains, but it's very profitable. I haven't done much with it. I could close it. Just in case the markets crash. I'll take some risk off the table. C3, I would never trade it at this level. It's too small for me. It ran too fast. The exuberance over AI is stupid. It is not AI. Now everybody wants AI. Also, I'm long Palantir. So I'm indirectly long AI via a better company. Better because it's been established for a long time, and the blue bars are not as big as the green bars. The spending, the losses are growing faster than the revenues. Not a company I want. Palantir has losses, but the revenues are, the P&L looks better. So this is a speculative bet. The other one is a fundamental bet. And the speculation is played out to the moon. I mean, what the heck? It rallied 200% and it gave back half. Technically, okay, that is half, but there's no reason why it's not at 16 or 14 or 12 in the next 2 months. I don't know. Hi, Shaq. AIG, I used to trade it a lot. Not anymore. I don't think I've traded in 10 years. It used to be very, very, very heavy options plays on that and Bank of America. All right, so you have buyers into 58, sellers into 63. If you lose 58, I think you get to 54. Lower highs, trying to hold the floor. I don't know who's going to win that battle. It looks like they're selling rallies. On the 1 hour, I bet you they are. Yeah. On the 30 minutes. Yeah, so slight edge to the bears, slight edge, not complete. This one is in the middle of the range, nothing to do. If I'm long and I didn't get out, I don't get out here. Based on the chart, not the fundamentals. It looks like they're selling rallies as early as 265 and 275. That gap up to 290 looks pretty difficult. By some miracle, they take 292 out or something. Maybe they get to 320, but first let's recover. So if I'm down and the stock rallies, I would get out if it was a trade. If it's an investment, there's nothing to do. AMD, not my favorite from a chart perspective. Much better now than up there at 88. AMD has a huge problem above 100. Similar problem to NVIDIA above 220-ish, give or take. NVIDIA's band is pretty wide. I like it better than NVIDIA here from a value perspective, but I don't have a reason to chase either of them. If they're rallying, the S&P is rallying, and so is the QQQ. I think I would be more comfortable personally being long the indices or the ETFs rather than this one, or Google or Amazon. But the S&P or the QQQ, the NASDAQ ETFs would be better longs for me than NVIDIA or AMD. I would avoid Intel altogether. I've changed my mind on Intel because of the management. So Amazon is a decent bargain. It's not an absolute dirt cheap company, and very choppy, very ugly chart here. So if they go crazy in the stock market this week, it might be at 82. I like it up here. I like it lower. I do have a credit put spread. It's 1. I trimmed it, and I may have to deal with it in the next couple of weeks. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but if I was forced to buy shares, I wouldn't mind it too much. I never know how to pronounce that one. I know it moves fast. That's what I know. So it's in the middle of the range. There really isn't much to say. These long sticks right here, they're tails, buyers, strong buyers. So I would imagine it has strong buyers into 16 plus or minus 50 cents. So if you want to get long, you're getting your opportunity for a trading perspective. But look at this. Earnings are coming. Complete coin flip on the earnings. Let's see. Pop. I would call it a drop and then a rally. Wait, why are there 2 earnings back to back? Okay, they pre-announce. So be careful. Pop and drop. It looks like the reactions are positive usually. That doesn't mean the next one will be. But what is this? You need to look into why there were 2. And if there are, then they might pre-announce and sting you early. So be careful. Boeing, it was a better short than a long. So I would get long it around 180. I think it gets there. 180, 181. So if somebody sold a call spread on Boeing, I know a lot of you did because you reached out to me, then you did right. So somebody wanted to short it and actually do a credit, an iron condor on it, and I gave them that. And but my comments were before that this was available and it's playing out. Okay. And this is a long-term setup, like 2017 battle zones and such. Good company. Its clients are not very good, which are the airlines. But the stock is back to what it used to do. So target 1, I think, is 180, maybe even 179. Target 2 could be much lower, but I don't think so. I think if it gets to 170, it's a gift. I would get long it. Baba, I wouldn't touch it. Had a bearish setup brewing and I shared it, and it was difficult at first, but then it paid pretty well. So let me see here, put it on a 2-hour basis. Available after hitting my target, and it did that and then some. You see that? So now it fell into a base. So it could bounce here. And if it does bounce, it's shortable because it could come back down and retest that. And if it loses that, it comes back to here. I don't know why it should come back to here. The company is fantastic from a P&L basis. The idea that the company is going bad as a company, I don't think is there, but the headline from China is unknown. So anyway, so what happened? It rallied from here to here, which was very, very aggressive for a company this big, 100%, and it literally just gave back half. So the whole zone is supportive. So if you've twisted my arm, I would do a credit put spread or a debit call spread or buy shares as a trade. I would not invest in it. Bath and Body Works, really? So is this like a wannabe Bed Bath and Beyond? Let's see if it's it's as crappy as a company. Look at the sales. Okay, so I hope you're not investing in this company, because what are you investing in? The sales are degrading over the years. Look at that, year after year. So be careful from an investment perspective. From a trading perspective, okay, you should have support here, but I don't know why people bother with this guy. It's not for me. Look how choppy it is with no guide. Maybe it is a meme stock. If it is, I definitely wouldn't touch it for me. Meme stocks, you need to be inside some Reddit room somewhere, hearing rumors and being in and out. It's gambling. It's total gambling. You don't know what you hit, but if you hit it, you hit really big. So yeah, if you're that guy or person, then sure. I would never be that person. It's just not in my nature. So I'm at a loss here. I don't know the company, but it looks not very good from the fundamental basis. And I don't know the headlines, and they're wild and obnoxious. So I can tell you 44, there are sellers. 45, there are sellers. If it gets there and I'm long, I'm out. If I want to get long, closer to 39 would be better with stops. Beto, I'm not closing my longs. They're very, 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 very profitable. I shared them with you from the 11s. That is in addition to the sold puts that I never got assigned. So I'm very happy with the behavior of Bitcoin and crypto in general. And they are catching a bid still. Remember, the reason why the markets rallied. Well, one of the signs that the markets were going to rally was that there was actually interest in Bitcoin, which is perceived as crap, right? And so maybe this rally was this one, and now they're dipping. So maybe we're here in this dip. So this is still available. I'm not closing my Bitcoin, my crypto trade, until Bitcoin hits well above 30, if not 42. Maybe it gets there now, maybe it doesn't, but I think it will. It is a speculative trade. If you have a lot of money invested in it and you made some profits, definitely book some. I booked a lot. That's why I'm leaving those to run. BKR, Baker Hughes. Don't know much about it. From a daily perspective, it's got a nice ascending trend. It has buyer below current price, so it should have support in 229 and a little bit lower. I wouldn't get too scared quickly unless something goes on with the company. Above 33, it might get interesting to 36 or 38. BMO, Bank of what? Montreal. Was this the one that pays a lot of dividends? It's a decent dividend. Okay. Falling into support. I don't know much about the Canadian fundamentals, so technically you might have a bounce to 99. I think you will find sellers into 98, 99. So when it comes back down, will it lose this? And if it does, I think you'll have an entry at 91. So if I'm long for a trade from here to here, I exit. And if I'm looking for to get long, I would take half a position, because you might be able to add some more lower. Might be able. That's a good trend on a 2-hour basis. That's not a good entry point. Look at what happened last time people tried to enter since 2021. That is not for me. You missed it. The rally from here to here consolidated, and this is the target of that rally, ABC. So a better entry would be a dip into 44, towards 44. Ed, I don't. That's a good comment. Yeah, nobody wants to be it, but they sure are trading it like that. The Bed Bath and Beyond comment. That's pretty good. Who is this? Caterpillar. Some of you shorted it. Close it. It's back into support, but it's ginger support. So I cannot tell you CAT won't be under 210. It could be. How? It could bounce and then find sellers somewhere here, and then come back down and lose this level. Okay, and if it does that, then it could do one of these. It's kind of a wonky drawing of mine, but that's the behavior. So if I wanted to be a stickler, I should do this. Timing, I have no idea. That's not a forecast. It's a potential. On this bounce, it might find sellers, and it comes back and bleeds, and if it loses the support zone, it bleeds lower. That was a pretty big rally. Maybe on the exuberance from the reopening of China. I don't think I've ever seen that C before. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you here. What is this? It's a micro cap, $58 million. Yeah, the chart is not going to help you here. You're going to have to study the company. Charter Communications. So from a trading perspective, it's falling into support zone. There's no reason why it's not at 360 before it bounces. If it does bounce to 390, I think it finds sellers. What happened there? So they rallied, it sold off. They are rallying. Will it sell off? And if it does and it loses this one, I think there's a good chance you can enter it at 365 or 360. I definitely would not chase it into 390. If I'm long here, I should expect a little bit of pain before it rallies, if it rallies. Chewy is on my to-do list. I don't know. I think I may have shared this to somebody. I don't remember doing that. 32.31 for 223. Okay, that passed. So that played out. I don't remember doing that. Anyway, it does have support several times. So this is a bounce available. Again, what happens in 244? Will they lose it, come back, and enter into 32? So if I were to take a long, I would want to make room for 32 to like something like this, but for April. So it is on my to-do list. I'm pretty sure. Chewy. CLH, Clean Harbor is not an obvious entry point. I think if it bounces up to 136, it's going to fade, and you'll have an entry at 126. In any case, this is not an obvious entry point. That is the nicest thing I can say about it. All right, so when you send me a request for a chart like this, I hope you're asking me if you can short it. Because if you were saying, I want his busing because it just dipped and I want to buy the dip, a 1% dip after a 70% rally is not a dip. This is almost at target, but there is no way on the planet I would ever say, yes, you can go long here. If you're looking to short it, that sounds good. And when I say short it, I don't mean to short the company outright. I mean to buy some puts if it's liquid enough. I doubt it. But anyway, it is a bearish, for me, it's a bearish candidate rather than a bullish one. I wouldn't get long until it gets closer to 121. Comcast is doing exactly what I said it would do. Look at that red arrow and look at the actual price action. This was perfect. So a small bounce, I think, will be met with sellers in 239, and I think they'll bleed lower to 236. But if you're trying to get long here with a credit put spread, you can do it. I believe this came up on a scan from another platform. Okay. CNHI. Not for me. That's too ugly of a rally right here. And I think you will get it under 15. Coin, I would never trade it. I've expressed why. It moves with Bitcoin. But Nick, you're a fan of crypto, yes. But why take on? So my goal in investing and trading is to eliminate as many variables as possible. I want the least number of question marks possible. When I take a regular stock, I have the question marks from the stock itself and question mark from the market. Here, I have the question mark from the stock itself, and it is a stock, so I have the question mark from the market itself, and I have the question marks from crypto price action, and I have the question mark from crypto banks going bankrupt. Why? I have way too many question marks. If I'm trading it for crypto, I should just use BITO, which is crypto minus the crypto risk of having the money somewhere else. So if you're trading this one because it moves with Bitcoin and you're trying to trade Bitcoin, BITO is a much lower dollar investment. and it trades 1-to-1 with Bitcoin. So not for me. Falling into 52 is okay. Losing 52, I think you'll get it in the 40s, like 44, 43, 42. I don't know anything about their fundamentals, but it is ridiculous that it trades with Bitcoin. It's not like they stash. And their revenues fell off a cliff and nobody's worried. I mean, like a cliff. Look at that, 9 billion to 3 billion. Like, I mean, who does that? Look at this. That's the sales. And the sales are dying and the expenses are not dying, the net losses. And no one's concerned. I wouldn't touch this. For a trade in here, out here, maybe. But as an investment, no way. Copart. Not an obvious entry point. It has sellers above and buyers below, but the buyers are more vulnerable to my eye. If you take this out, 70 or 71, okay, you might have some breathing room up there. CRM, also not an obvious entry point. Closer to 150 would be better. I don't know if it'll get there, but if it does, I would love it there. I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't chase it. And if I get long it here, I may get a pop towards 167 or one. Oh, okay, there are earnings coming, so never mind that. I wouldn't touch it. I like the company. I'll buy it on a dip. In fact, I will put the alert right now. I will put 2 alerts in case it collapses. The first alert will wake me up. The second alert will get me in. CrowdStrike. So I put these blue arrows to say, are we buying dips now? And that's a good thing because that means that this stock is in an ascending channel. And it looks like it is. So now we have the bulls that have momentum. They're buying dips. And the bears are trying to defend a zone of failure. So if they get above 121, they might have enough oomph to try to inch into this giant gap from back there in 2022. So they are buying dips. So if I'm not long and it falls into 112, 113, I would get long. I would exit towards 120 if I'm trading, or hold some for the eventual breakout if they do it. CS, Credit Suisse, no, not for me. I'm bearish a lot of banks, and this one seems to have a lot of weird stuff. I mean, no, not for me. What if I was long? Okay, so if somebody's asking that, look at this. I mean, there's no end to this. No touch. I mean, if you want to gamble on a rally back for no reason, then fine. But a company whose stock is broken, the company is probably broken. So you want to ask yourself, will they be in business? What? This is Credit Suisse. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first one that failed. So you can get a bounce to 350 or 325, but not an investment. Jax, I don't know. Did you ask for DraftKings? Okay, so Cisco. Decent place to start. It rallied from here to here, gave back half. It's a decent place to start. But there might be some more redness. So I would do an iron condor on this one, to be honest, if there are no earnings. If it's liquid enough. I don't trade Cisco. I find it too choppy for such a stable company. I mean, the business is stable. Why is it up and down like it's Netflix or something? Okay, CTRA. Sellers. Need I say more? Above this line, maybe above 26, they go another $1, but better to buy it on the dip for a trade. CVS, it's a good long. It's on my list to get long. I almost went long it last week. I did share it with someone, actually. Something like this. A credit put spread. You can do it down here. It doesn't have to be that small. It can be bigger. I share them with $1 increments to fit any investment account. So a credit put spread or a debit call spread or a combination of both would do just fine for me. One second. Okay. Caesars was on my short list, I think, and it played out. Now it might be a buy for a bounce into 54, 55. Be careful what happens there. It might revert lower and lose this and come back down to 45. So if I'm investing in it, nothing to do. If I'm trading it, I could get long for a rally and I would exit as a trade. If I wanted to short it, I would short it up here. So if it gets to up here, I would buy a put or sell a call spread. It could bleed to 47, 46 would be a decent entry point. Well, good thing, Jax, I'm in a live room every day for you, so not the end of the world. There you go. You got your wish. DraftKings. Okay. It's a better entry point than up here. It filled the gap. It's into a buying zone. I think that zone extends to 17. It depends on your intentions. If I'm long already, there's no need to do anything. If I'm looking to get long, there's no need to go all in. I can nibble. And I would probably prefer to do a credit put spread down here to leave room for error. If I go all in, then you know something I don't. Look what happened the last time it got here. So if any of you here, please raise your hands. I don't think you're going to do it. If you bought it here or you went long here, oh my God, I mean, please reach out, because this is the easiest mistake to avoid. The absolute easiest mistake to avoid. Okay. It's not an obvious entry point. That's what I say. Devon, it's doing exactly what I said it would do, unfortunately, for those who are long. But you've been warned. Look at that red one. It popped, and I had a conversation with somebody who's long oil. And I drew this back here. Can you freaking believe it? This red line, I drew back here. And look how it unfolded. It's just price action. I wouldn't touch any oil company personally, but it's falling into a prior bounce level, so it could bounce, and I would caution you because it will probably fail into 58 and come back and finish the job and be in the 40s. I'm biased negative on oil for the long term because we're being fed a lie, and the lie will surface. They cannot maintain this lie for long unless they want to open more war fronts. Okay. Vulnerable, well, who is this? Edison. Wow, why so violent? So vulnerable, it got there. I think there are sellers at 95. If you get a bounce towards 95, 96, fade it. And you might even lose the bounce here and you'll end up at 86. But I don't know anything about it, and I'm speculating. All I know is that there are sellers in a descending channel on a 2-hour basis. How about a 1 hour? Yeah, it's easier to see here. You can see them how they're trickling lower. So now they need to hold last week's lows, otherwise they get down to here. Thank you, Willow. EFX doing the same thing as we thought it would. It's trying to consolidate inside this little bowl to recover, but I would not bet on this. So it has support. A friend of mine works for it. Maybe I should hit him up with for. I should take this out because it could be it could be this. Okay. I don't know that. All I know is I think there are sellers here. How about that? That would be fair. Sellers, and I wish I can put words on this potential, possible. But they don't allow me to put words on there, so I'm relegated to doing possible. I don't want to cause people to short it. I just want to caution you not to chase it blindly. And if you do want to short it, buy a put on the way up. End phase, I said not to go long yet. It hit my target exactly. You can't see it, but that's the arrow. You see that? The downside arrow? Okay, so let's see now. Is that better? Okay, how about we go to a daily chart? This wolf wave is pretty busy. If you twist my arm, I shared a couple of credit put spreads for people who definitely wanted to go there. I didn't do them, but it does have support. But I think rallies are being sold. So if it rallies into 230, exit. Or if you're looking to short it at 230. Or if you enter it now, know it's a scalp. If you get X% profit, exit. I don't know where it's going to sell off. They have sellers above. So be careful. But it's amazing how you remember whoever asked me about this when it first fell from here to here. I said I think it goes lower, but the company's good. It's got, yes, I don't disagree. We're just talking charts. ES. I don't know if you're asking for the futures or what. You got Eversource. It's falling into a base. It's not time to short it. So they have buyers down here. If I'm long, I don't exit. If I'm looking to get long, I can nibble, but not all in. Etsy, I do like the business, and looky. Every arrow we drew, man, we are like on the ball. It is an entry point down here. Where, I don't know. They told us last week here on the earnings. So now when the earnings reaction went wee and down, they gave you the limits. They want to sell it at 133. They want to buy it at 120. So now you have a box from the earnings. And you can put yourself a visual note. Earnings. Box. So trade the box. Expect buyers at the end and expect sellers at the top. So if you're long and it gets to the end, don't exit. If you're looking to get long, you can get long inside the lower ends of the box, and you fade it at the upper ends. So it becomes a trade inside this box. Ping pong. So this is where I would sell a credit put spread. In fact, I'm going to add it to my watch list. Oh, it is on there. Okay. So it would be in my credit put spread box. EWX. What is that? Emerging markets. Wow. Okay, so I would not trade that with options, folks. It's just like the S&P. They rallied from here to here. They gave back. They're trying to find footing to come back and break out. It's not going to be easy, but I would rather be long the S&P, to be honest. It trades just like it. Look. Same deal. Whoops. Take that out. It's trying to base, trying to come back, break out. Same deal. What was that ticker? EWX. EFX. EWX. Xterra. Extreme. Extreme chart. Nothing I can tell you about it. Is that a micro cap? No. It is a tiny mini cap. So okay, you have buyers in this zone, around 17.5, and hard sellers at 20. That's your box. You get long into the 17s and you exit into the 20, or you hold longs until you break out at 20 and you go to a 21.50 or so. I don't think the chart's going to help you as much as you studying the company and its headlines. Ford, it's not for me, even at this price. I promise you, the American car makers, other than Tesla, yes, other than Tesla, are in deep trouble if indeed we're going to flip to electric. They don't know how to make a profitable electric car. Not at the numbers they're selling right now. So that's why Tesla keeps playing around with their feelings by dropping prices and cutting them out of the market. So they're in deep trouble. We're going to have, I'm confident, one of two things. One, somebody's going to come out with a completely different technology. Oh, look, we solved this. Now we have a hybrid system that uses part battery, part blah, blah, blah. Or there's going to be a huge shift from the White House and the powers that be about propulsion, saying, okay, so it can't be all EVs. We're going to dedicate X billion dollars to something else, because these companies do not know how to make a profitable EV. That is a fact. That's not my opinion. It's a fact so far. So be careful. From a trading perspective, okay, you're falling into support. But if you lose 11, I think you get it in the single digits, maybe in 2 months. If we lose this, it goes to the single digits. And then it'll be a good entry point. I like the company. I've recommended it long before. I'm trying to get you out of adding to your long. So if I'm long Ford, I don't add. Fang is stuck in the middle of the range. It's an oil company, right? Yeah. What did they do? Nat gas Nat gas. So Nat gas is in deep crap. I don't know if it tracks the UNG, but from a trading perspective, you have buyers here and sellers there. You lose this one, you go to here. There's no reason why it's not at 122 or 160 in the next 2 months. It looks easier to 127, to be honest. So if it goes to here and it loses this one, 133, it probably will lose 128 and go to 122, enter there. I think they're selling rallies. So I think rallies into 147, 148 will be sold. FCX, it was a short. It hit my limits. No arrows. Interesting. This is not a short entry. This is a bounce level. What happens on the bounce is going to sell off. So there is a chance, not a guarantee, that it will find sellers here. And then it comes back and retests from wherever it bounced. So this is possible. And if it does lose this one, it goes to here. But it doesn't look that easy. I think if it bounces, comes back down, they'll hold this zone. But then there's that nice gap down there. So I don't want to draw the head and shoulders, but you can almost see it. Like if they bounce 33, it could happen. FDX, there you go. Step 1 of 2 done. Sellers, they're working. I think a rally into 212, 210, 211 will be sold. And I think it comes back down below 192. And it would still be a positive thing. Why? Because they're in an ascending channel. They're buying dips, and you need a dip to buy. And that rally was way too big. So they're buying dips inside this ascending channel. So it would make an entry point a little bit lower. I mean, if you twist my arm, I could do a credit put spread. But I think you get it under 195, 192. I'll put the alert, FDX. The other day, I got a package delivered. I forgot who was the provider. And it was from DHL. I did not know they were still in business. It was so sad. Oh, how cute, DHL. Okay. First Solar. Wow, this is a violent stock. Adult Swim only. And okay, so if you lose this candle, 157, you will get to 144, maybe even 140. If you lose 144, you could get to 128. So they are buying dips, but they're also selling rallies. So there are sellers above 173. And I would, to get long, it's not an obvious entry point. At one point, it was THTH, too high to chase and too hot to short. That's no longer correct. Remember looking for tradable resistance lines. Okay, so there is no recent resistance because there's nothing there. So be careful above here. It's open air. You might have the opportunity to get long below 144, so patience. Don't be stubborn shorting it. GE, I'm still bearish. I'm selling puts against my puts. I don't know why I'm fighting it. I've sold 2 or 3 sets of puts. I have about 25 days. I would change my mind above 85, 86. So I don't know why I'm fighting it. But the chart is extended. It's not an obvious entry point. I would like it somewhere around 74. Gilead, yikes. Do your homework. This chart is not going to help you do anything on Gilead. I mean, there's no reason why it's not 70 in the next 30 days. I couldn't tell you it cannot be there, or 95. So you have to study this company. You have to accept the risk that comes with these biotech pharma companies. They have headlines every day like an earnings report. FDA, blah, 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 blah. Boom, $1 million up or down. You don't know. So be careful. I don't think this holds at the speed this is falling. GIS, never ever chase a stock like this, ever. If you're calling me, if you're calling on me to review this for an entry point, you should save your effort next time. I will never say yes to a stock that just rallied 30, 40%. Eyeball, what is that, 15%? 6%? No, not for me. It's going into a prior accident scene. Look what happened the last time they were here. Crash. They're going back to here. So everybody's stuck. We'll say, thank you, I'm out. And you come in, you take your longs, you're basically bailing them out and taking over their bag of poop. And you're going to hold it down to here. I'm very confident you have an entry under 79 in the next, 3 weeks. It's going to bleed back down. This one, you can start looking for an entry point from a chart perspective. But again, this is a car maker. So here's my worry on GM, and I bet you in the 2 weeks we will review. Whoever asked for GM, ask for it again, and to see if this happened. I would sell a call spread on rallies with confidence. if you force me today, I would probably do an iron condor that survives this dip. So if I can get a credit put spread below 35 and a credit call spread at or above 43, I would do that. Barrick Gold, I wouldn't touch it yet. I like the company. I like the management. I like investing in an asset that people love, like crypto and gold. They're the same. Gold has value only for one reason, is because people perceive value in it. Same with Bitcoin. Neither of them do anything except make us feel good about ourselves. People buy gold because they love it, not because they need it. People buy crypto because they love it, not because they need it. So it's the same thing. I think it could go lower. It's tied to the price of gold. Remember what I said about coin? Same with gold, Barrick. Barrick Gold is a good company. Agnico is a good company. They're both on my trading list. But they have too many variables. They're tied to the company itself. They're tied to the stock market itself. They're tied to the price of gold itself. Almost as bad as crypto, minus the one thing that the banks of gold are not going out of business, where the banks of crypto are going out of business. So you have one less headline than crypto, but that company's stock is tied to too many things. I would do a credit put spread. Google, somebody asked for Goog as well. I took that out. I'm answering Goog L, but it's the same for both. Google is it's out of favor, not because it's a bad company, just because they're buying Microsoft, not Google. And in order to buy Microsoft, they sold Google. I do have a credit put spread, and it is in trouble, and I'm going to have to roll it this week. How do I deal with it? I just roll it out in time. I just need time to be right. And I will roll it once and then decide whether I want to take shares, probably. If I get a bounce this week and it brings me back to even or a small red, I would close it. This is an important comment. If I get a bounce Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it gets me out of trouble or it gets me to being red a little bit, I would take it off the table. Okay, so that's an enticing rally back from this descending wedge. The only problem is that it's too freaking big and fast. I wouldn't touch this at all. If it's an investment, do homework on the company and find out why it's losing so much money and if it's actually temporary. And what's the long-term, what is this? Please do homework. Okay, so here's what I would do. If I'm investing in this one and I'm already long, I would not add unless I found something new. Period. End of story. If I took a full-size position in this company, I would not add at all. Period. I invest in the company and I'm done. I'll give you an example. I have speculative bets. In Palantir is one. What I said is I'll take a small position and I will add over time. So the first entry was not perfect. I added one time and now my blended price is much lower than the original price and I'm still not at a full-size position. So I didn't add to my problem. I just made my entry point smarter. Taking longs here. Amber alert. Okay, I see it. Taking positions here is you're hoping to hit a bottom. I don't know much about it, so do your homework. IBB, boy, they're falling like they're going out of business. This is a collection of good companies. Okay, so they're getting into an interesting area. I have XBI on my list to trade. I think it behaves a little bit better than IBB. I'm going to add this one to my watch list. I don't like that they lost 128. They might bounce to 130 and come back down to 122.50. So if you go long IBB, make sure to leave room to the opportunity that you may be able to have a 117, 118 entry or 115. So credit put spread, yes. Calls all in, no. India bull market. So I don't know anything about India bull market. And you're falling out of control. You may have triggered a head and shoulders, and it may go to 30 or 28. Be careful. Technically, look at the size of this head and shoulders. The downside scenario is as big as this upside. So it could be 28, 26 even. Be careful. It has buyers around the 30, but I would not get long here. There's no signs. And if you do get long and get a bounce, expect to sell. It's going to get selling pressure. International paper. It's in a base. If retail investors are pulled back the reins, this one will suffer. I think a lot of its money is coming from shipping boxes. So verify that fact. In other words, yes, it has support. And yes, this makes a decent entry point on a daily basis, but I would not add to my longs. I have support. IWM, okay, so a lot of you asked for SPY, SPX, IWM, and QQQs. You know, I do a video just for that on Sunday nights. So, and I've covered IWM, it has not changed. RUT, IWM, they broke out, they delivered half the profits, and they're coming back into the neckline from which they broke out. This is a base. This week is pivotal. Last week we needed to hold, we held a level. We need to stabilize this week so we can actually build that as a base so we can make higher highs. It does have support, but it's not a hard floor. I think this is the end of video 1, so I'll stop here and hit video 2, so bear with me.